first time in our church, Mr. Frank Lucas. Come on and help me give God some glory and praise. Y'all ain't shouting good enough for me. Come on, come on, come on. I wish y'all would clap better than that. I wish. Thank you so much. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. While we're setting up, let me say a couple of things. First, to those of you who are watching online, I need you please to get this book camera. I need you to zoom in, please. Press that knob, move all the way in. I need them to see the cover of this book. Every person, would you please write down the name of this book? You're able to buy it, order it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can download the book. It's called The Original Gangster, the real life story of one of America's most notorious drug lords. The Original Gangster, the real life story of one of America's most notorious drug lords by Frank Lucas. I hope that you'll please get this book. Let me see those particularly, let me see the gentlemen in the room who've read any other books by Iceberg Slim. Let me see. All right, I'm showing myself in age. All right, those of you who read the autobiography of Malcolm X, let me see. That way. All right. This is right in line with those two books. If you read those two books and like those, you're going to absolutely love this book. Mr. Lucas, I'm glad to have you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
How you feel?
Great.
I'm pinching myself, ladies and gentlemen. This is my cousin as well as our guest, and so it's a whole lot of questions I want to ask off the microphone. So I'm trying to, we were having a debriefing family reunion in the back room. My family originates out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and then migrated to New York. And okay, we got 2 people here from New York and 5 people here from New York. And then part of the family went to Brooklyn, another part to the Bronx, another part to Harlem. My mother's from Yonkers, and changed the world. Changed the world in large measure. I want to jump right in. I want to go to your Old Testament before we get here. Okay. I want you to talk about the day when you felt like you had made it. When you felt like you made it, you had the most amount of success. What was the day that you said, okay, this is what I worked towards?
I had an awful lot of money, and I was very rich, independent. And more than that, I guess it's more than that. I just had it all and thought I couldn't be touched. But the government had different ideas.
What would you say was the most amount of money you had at one time?
Most money I had at one time in property and everything, a little over $1 billion.
You said with a B?
Yes, sir, with a B.
$1 billion?
Yes, sir.
And what year would you say that was?
Just before they raided and took it. I think it was 1975, 76, 75, I think.
In 1975, you could see $1 billion.
Yes, sir.
How does that happen? In 2014, we can't even put our minds, when we think of $1 billion, we're talking about Bill Gates. When we're talking about $1 billion, we're talking about the Apple, we're talking about Dell, we're talking about .com corporations. If you're talking about $1 billion in 1970.
If they just left me alone and don't bother me, I could have put Bill Gates up in the back seat of my car, I guess. I had it like that.
I was born too late. I missed it. Tell me how did you build up to that?
Well, on the street corner, I was getting $1 million a day, and they had nothing to do with my whole self. They were making it. I know it's a terrible thing to
million a day.
On the street corner, yes, sir. Just on the street corner. Not had nothing to do with my wholesale and stuff like that.
Now, was that just in New York?
Yes, in New York. Yes, sir. 116th Street and 8th Avenue. The bus couldn't get through. Such a lot of crowd of people that they had to do to and go around, do to and go around.
And how did you get positioned as a black man in the 60s to the 70s to be able to accrue that amount of money? Because traditionally you would think that kind of money is just left to the Italian mafia.
Yeah, well, you can't put it under your mattress, I can tell you that. You can't put it under your mattress or under your bed. What you got to do is put it over in the offshore account like I did a jerk. Put it on the offshore account in Cayman Island. I have a lot of money over there. They took it all.
Would you say that they used you as an example over against the Italians? Was there greater scrutiny on you and they allowed other people to go, or everybody went down at the same time?
Well, I tell you, they had their section, I had mine. They didn't come across 110th Street. I didn't allow it.
They could not come into
No, they couldn't come across 110th Street. Simple as that. They were the dividing line.
When
I had from 110th Street to 155th Street, river to river. I own it. I ran it. I own it. I did what I had to do.
Okay. When did you realize that you were being under observation?
When I've been what?
When did you realize the police were coming in to come get you?
The police were coming in to come get me. They didn't come get me. They were usually I say, he say. They didn't get me with nothing. Not a thing. Not 1 ounce, not 1 gram. They didn't catch me with nothing. I had like 10 people in between me and the street. They weren't going to get me.
You had 10 people between you and the street?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lieutenant, super lieutenant, whatever. Captain, soldiers.
So you had a corporate structure?
Yes, sir. Very much so.
So you would say, at that prime, how many people were on your staff?
Oh, well, I really don't know. I can't say I can tell you how many people had worked with me. I had 2 people work with me, and they had their own people. And when they come up, you want to count them all, I guess, a couple of hundred, I guess, or more than that.
You would have more, you would say more than 300.
Excuse me?
More than 300 were working for you?
Yeah, yes, sir, more. Yes, sir, it had to be more than 300.
500.
Yeah, maybe somewhere in that neighborhood.
And it's just in New York?
Yes, in New York. That was street corner in New York. I did it all over. I did it in California, Chicago, got Detroit. I did it all over.
Tell me how you got first introduced into the drug world. How did you get introduced to it?
How did I get introduced to it? Well, I had a boss name, I guess. I don't know if you ever heard of him, named Pumpkin Johnson.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't let me get into it when he was alive. And I was going to work with him for 13 years, 8 months, and 9 days. But when he died in 68, and then I took off. I went and got all the money out of the streets. And I would go to Bangkok, Thailand. I made my connection and made an awful lot of money.
What year did you, I want you to talk about, I talked to Mr. Lucas earlier today, and I asked you, when did you know that you had made an impact to really negatively affect the community? And you talked to me earlier today about when you were in court and the lady testified. I want you to share.
Yes, sir. She testified. And, but the brand I had name was Blue Magic. And the lady testified in court about how she caught her son in the back room with a needle in his arm and a Blue Magic laying on the floor, like a Blue Magic laying on the floor. And police were well aware that was my friend, and everybody else was. So she got to testifying, there were many people in that courtroom, I guess, in here tonight, and she, down the eye in that courtroom where it wasn't wet. Everybody was crying and all. I said, hey, you know what? I'm remorse right now. I don't need to do this no more.
Wow. What year was that?
I guess that would be 78, 77, 78, something like that.
I want you, if you can, how many years did you have to serve?
How many times? Yeah, I do it.
How many years were you in jail?
Oh, you put them all together. You want to put them all together?
You can put them all together.
I guess about 15, I guess. 15 or something like
15
that.
years,
Yeah.
but not 15 years straight.
No, not 15 straight up. No, sir.
So the first time you went was for how long?
3 years or something, I think.
On what charge?
Shooting somebody.
And then after you got out, how long were you out before you were sentenced again?
About 3 years.
You were out for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then
I got in 5 years.
for what?
Yeah, for same thing again.
Shooting
somebody
somebody.
else, yeah, somebody in my neighborhood. I told them don't come back, and they did come back. And hey, you know what? You can't have that. You can't have that.
There's an age-old question: which is more powerful, fear or respect?
Say what?
What do you think is more powerful, fear or respect?
Both of them are awful powerful. Both of them are awful powerful. I think respect might be more powerful. I think it might be. But when they respect you, they're not going to do nothing. And when you take your business, they're not going to do nothing anyway, so it doesn't matter.
And then the last time you were sentenced, they sentenced you for, was it for 40 years?
Yes, sir. 40 years, not only 40 years, they wasted me, really, you know, erasing me. But it was a way that they had that law, and it went into, at that time they had the law like, you get that kind of time, you ain't gonna never see the street no more.
Right.
But when they passed the other law, coming up, they had violated my civil rights. And that's the way I got out of that. Very lucky, very lucky.
I want you to walk us through, because the younger generation always thinks I'm too smart. I'm not going to get caught. What happened to him is not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
I want you to talk to me about when they sentenced you to that 40 years. I want you to walk me through your first night in jail.
We didn't have no heart. Everything just, everything just went at you. You just wasted. You got 40 years, one God, there ain't no thing, but they kept on saying, you know what, there's always a way. And they didn't lie. There was a way. They changed laws.
When they closed that door and you were in that cell and the reality hit that you may very well spend the rest of your life behind that cement wall.
You said, Lord, have mercy, Jesus, help me.
What was the defining moment for you to say, I've got to reach back to stop these other kids from following this same path?
Yes, sir. I tell you. Say that again, sir.
What made you, was it jail that changed your mind about what you were doing? Had you not gone to jail, do you think you would have still stayed in the life?
Son of a gun. I would have been a big son of a bigger son of a gun. I had that vision. There ain't nothing, there wasn't no stopping me now. You know? One year I could make $1 billion, the next year I could have made $3 billion, you know? No stopping me. And then the gangsters in the street wasn't gonna stop me. And they didn't dare to come in my neighborhood, so it had to be the best. The cops only beat part of them getting paid, you know. So that's the way it was.
made you decide to sit down and write this book?
Well, there's a lot of other books out there that I had nothing to do with. They told a lot of stories about me. I want to set the record straight and money. The truth is, yeah.
Tell me how the whole movie process came about with Denzel Washington.
Oh, a guy named Mark Jacobs is a writer for Time magazine, I think, and he's a writer for Time magazine. And he come to me, Richard Rouse. You saw him in the movie, I guess, a lot. It was, it's a movie. What can I tell you? He called him over, and they were going to decide to write an article in the magazine. And a week later, 2 weeks later, they come knocking on the door. Hollywood, here they come.
Wow.
And hey, I didn't know nothing about the business. Signed a contract when I did it wrong. They did me wrong for taking part of the money, But hey, you know what? That's the name of the game. You got there, you get took. Hey, what can I do? And if we're gonna make it nothing this time, I'll make it right this time.
What in the film or what is in the books that is wrong that you wanted to correct?
Overhang for real. They didn't tell it.
Give me 2 or 3 of the biggest ones that you sitting there looking at the movie like, where did this come from?
I don't want to discourage the movie, and I've been doing it if I do that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to discourage the movie. I don't want to scare the people looking at the movie, And the book and the movie don't coordinate. They don't come together sometimes, so I don't want to do that.
What would you say to some young man who's watching online, who's doing $1,000 a week?
He should quit. He don't know what he's doing. He should quit. He should quit right now. He should go and throw it up and quit right now. So he's going to jail for nothing. $1,000 a week, you're going to jail for nothing.
What do you think has changed in today's culture? I don't know. Are black people really running the trade as you were, or is it all people from outside of the community?
There ain't nobody running trade like I was. There ain't nobody out there got the guts no more. They don't know how. Put it that way. They got the young kids doing with snot and noses and running 15, 18 years old, running, shooting people, doing things. They don't know what they're doing. The fact is they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to get up and go and get their own product and make it a success and whatever. They don't know how to do that. All they know how to do is run over that way, build that jumbo Samo, the Italian guy with a cigar in his mouth, and get $500,000 worth of stuff and come back and try to make it into $1 million, and he ain't gonna never do it. It just don't add up,
Right.
So I tell them, please go to school. Don't do this because you're wrong. You don't have a chance out here. The big boys will eat you up. Don't know how.
I want, if in fact, what was the highest level of education you completed?
3rd grade.
3rd grade.
Yeah.
And with a 3rd grade education, you were able to develop in one city a $1 billion corporation.
Oh, I had more than a billion, but
$1 billion a year.
Yeah. I had more than a billion. I sure did. That was definitely. But I tell you this, that's